It kind of reminds me of what they say with like the moon. It's like pulling energy.
Oh,
and so that's why it's
God.
like you always got to do 100% because it's always pulling.
Wow, the sun is bathing energy while the moon is pulling. Oh my God.
So even if you upgrade, it's like, all right, great, more to pull. It's like, oh, okay. It makes sense with the turnover thing also, because it's like, you're the most efficient person that I know. You know, I say person, but you know what I'm saying.
You're same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a person, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, anyways, we're going to be here for a long time if I describe the thing. But knowing how efficient you are with resources and time and all that, energy, like in the past X amount of years, I know you would have found a way if there's a way. But I think the fact that you're saying it takes 100%, I think also because there's that dichotomy that, like, obviously for the pull to exist, the other pull also has to exist in a sense just as much. So it seems like the higher up you go in leveling up, the more it's going to pull more energy. But that also means you draw more energy during the daytime.
That's the plan, yeah.
So that you can recharge for nighttime. So it's almost like, it's kind of like a different loop where it's like, you know how some people live to eat or they live to work type of vibe?
They can say that, but it's not real. But yeah, they can give themselves that concept or that ideology, but it's not. No one lives to work, even if they make work their main focus. But I get what you're saying.
That's a good point. It seems like you're getting energy from the daytime to put out at nighttime because it's so pulling. And then by the time it's daytime, you recharge yourself or you upgrade yourself to be able to push out so that in the nighttime it can be pulled. And the more it gets pulled, the more it can come in. But that also means you have more influence over everything because you have that much power and strength to push and pull.
The structure's somewhat like that, yeah, but you should be there's a greater level of the pull that's I'll say aggravated through the stimulation is primarily in the gut, while at night it's primarily in the head. And it's easier to stimulate or operate the constant stimulation of that during the daytime because there's more space versus the head. There's not as much space. So to keep it constantly aggravated and agitated is the better word, agitate versus aggravated. The poles agitated. It's easier in the gut than it is the head because the head has less space. So one little vibration is a lot versus here, they can do all this other stuff and there's like room to wiggle.
So it's more sensitive, you're saying?
Yeah, but it operates more because it seems as if the agitation is to a greater degree in the head than it is here. If you were to compare them.
So this is kind of like a tangent, but do you think that's why there are some skeletons with like big heads? Because they were able to push and pull energy. And so like as they got more more into it, their head started growing so that they have more space.
Well, all the grays they talk about are telepathic. So I would say, yeah, like this whole purpose of having more headspace is because you do more with it, has more of the ability to. So things with bigger skulls, like elongated skulls, most likely there was some sort of greater ability through neural connection in their entire being that gave them things, abilities, factors, different skills that people without that didn't have or don't have. Psionic powers, whatever. Telekinesis, telepathy, all the stuff. I know that as my head has grown, I've been more sensitive to reality, to hear things talking, to tell me what it is. Like situational awareness being described from the materials themselves. Almost like a detective comes in like, oh, there's a stain here. That stain most likely is the evidence for, and then in the chain of events, they could solve the mystery. Like the stain is talking. The person's using their deductive skills. Okay, well, this most likely means this. But on this factor of it, or this side, just seeing the stain will be like, I'm this. Versus having to go and bounce off of, okay, critical thinking internally, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And possibly coming to a conclusion that's so far off of what it actually is that I'm dabbling in psychosis. This is just, seems like psychosis on the opposite side, something speaking to you, but you see it, it speaks, and it's the thing itself. It's straight from the source. But I think that has come with a larger head growth. So they probably have some sort of, ability that far exceeds that, because the heads are so big. And when people get abducted or they experience things, they usually mention telepathy, like that spoke to them without moving their mouth. That's a greater level of efficiency.
Kind of makes me think about how, like, the head is like the heavens, like the sky. And so that's why you're able to get more of like the unseen stuff when you speak.
Personally, or? Well, I mean, it's definitely an antenna. Like, you receive a lot of stuff. Like the head, everything, most of the senses are here anyway. So even externally from the brain, right, on the outer portions of your ears, nose, eyes, mouth, everything else. So you are receiving all data here. This is like the tip of the pole. Humans are like a pole, like a stick, and they have a circle, and then they stick a little bobbing stick. This receives all the information. You receive information everywhere, but primarily here.
What do you think is the most efficient way to get more?
Utilize what you have.
Yeah.
And then whenever you bring it to its fullest utility and efficiency and optimization, then you have to make room for more. But nature is extremely efficient. So if you aren't using what you have, use it or lose it type of vibe, even from the consciousness of nature itself, viewing you, observing you. If you say that you're efficient or utilizing everything, but you're not, you can't fool the observer. So if you don't have it, then you're not using it,
How do you know which part you're being inefficient in? Like, because you've grown your head, so that means that you're becoming more and more sensitive than where you were. So it's like, that's like the physical manifestation of that. So as someone who has done that, I'm thinking, like, how do you even know where you're being inefficient in so that you can get more later?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, one of the things is not desiring the end result or some sort of goal, having any sort of goal. If you have a goal, you'll bypass the actual purpose of what all this is just for an outcome. So if you are looking for the outcome, that's inefficiency in itself. The purpose would be to observe and see what is, and then through the awareness and acknowledgement of what is, then you come to a greater degree of efficiency. And an example would be like, my eye color changed to blue, right? They're now blue. They were like green and brown before. My head is bigger. There's the clear pictures from before and after. I'm like, my head has grown. And even my muscles are bigger. None of those were my goal. I don't care about bigger muscles. I don't care about definitely a bigger head. And I didn't care about changing my eye color. It's like, I don't even see my eyes. I don't see my eyes, so what would I care what color they are? I don't care. So these things happen by default from simply observing the way itself, allowing it to show me, and then operating inside of it. So these outcomes that people would want to strive for or achieve are a byproduct of what you're operating in. And if you ever desire the outcome, then you're not in it. So the only way to get that is to not care about it. How do you get a bigger head or this or that, or blah, 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 blah. Don't care about it. And then you get it. But if you care about it, you might even obtain it, but you lost efficiency along the way because you made that the confirmation, the purpose. The confirmation is never the purpose. The confirmation is just there to indicate the rate of alignment that you're operating in and the sustainability of it. But it's never the goal.
Then what's the path or the journey? Or because you know how people say like it's not the destination, it's the journey, and it kind of sounds like what you're saying, because the destination would technically be like the headspace to be bigger and all that stuff. Like what would that path be? So that, because if I'm thinking about what's the path, then doesn't that mean that I'm actually making that my destination as well? So technically, like I'm making it a goal to be on the path, which means I wouldn't even get the thing because I'm not actually paying attention to what's here. So like, how do I know what's the thing then? Do I just like, okay, but then that's unawareness. You know what I'm saying?
So then what would be the thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
You just said the opposite of it. The other side of the pole. So what would the thing be?
Like awareness?
Yeah. That's it. Awareness.
So like being aware that like the head can grow and that the eyes can change color, but not wanting it or like making that the main focus, you're saying? But just like keep living life.
Don't keep living life. Keep being aware of life. Because you can live and exist, but you're not even aware of like what's going on. So start being aware of like where are we? What's going on? What is this? What's the vibe? What's the setup? What's the scene? Hey, Sasha, is this recording?
Yeah.
Being aware of the camera, being aware of the mic, being aware of this is become aware of all things. Well, Sasha's aware of that, see? And that's the whole purpose of it. It's not a journey. It's just, it's not a destination either. It's just awareness at all times. And you just bring your awareness to whatever you want to be aware of, as long as you want to be aware of it. And then when you're tired of that, be aware of this. And then be aware of that. And then all of a sudden, it's easy to kind of scope out. And you're in your peripheral awareness, which same way, once your peripheral is now your main. You're centered because you have widened your scope so much to you can see before here, but now you can see here. So now it's brought it in and everything's becoming condensed. And as you can condense this, what this is, you can build upon it. And that's probably why my muscles have grown, because of that right there. Because everything speaks in everything. So like what was once was an expanse for me to stretch, to grow, has now been the condensing of. I'm more condensed now. 214 pounds. But I'm like skinny still. Like, yeah, I'm like defined, but like I'm still lanky and stuff. Like where did this weight come from? I kind of remind me when I was back at 190 something pounds. Where did, but it's the condensing of becoming so packed because you're so efficient that you need less. But that's also not the goal either, to condense or have muscles, but it's going to be part of the operations in the expansion of awareness and the efficiency of life. Things become more condensed. What used to take you 20 minutes now takes you one minute.
Because it compounds on itself. Like you start compounding because you start looking for ways to optimize your energy. Like even subconsciously.
Well, it would be the opposite. It would be condensed versus compounding. Like it's exponential growth, expanding, compounding. It's getting bigger, but condensing is actually contracting. So it's becoming contracted. It's taking less. Now the rate of efficiency, like you have a curve, like a hockey stick, it's happening at a faster rate. Growth and everything else, expansion. So the growth rate may be compounding of efficiency, but it itself is actually condensing and contracting.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't know I had my definitions backwards like that.
It's not necessarily backwards, but it's because you can still use it in a way that is relative to what we're speaking on, but primarily you're contracting. And in your contraction, you're packing something in so much that there's no more space for it, and you build out from it. You can now build out, and that could be the compounding part. But it would be something else. The thing itself isn't compounding, but your entirety is compounding upon each other. And that's where conscious expansion comes from. Because it's not singular on this, it's built upon everything. It's the layer expanding outwards. Because this is so optimized and efficient.